Hi Aries, so I'm Jody with Soul Purpose Tarot. I am in Carmel, Indiana. I am a Libra Sun, Capricorn Rising, Sagittarius Moon. If you are new to my channel, welcome. If you've been here before, you know how I do this. I usually pull out 4 or 5, 6, however many want to come out, tarot cards. Look at them and decide if we are looking at love or life, career, or whatever. And we've already got 3 that have come out. So we've got the 10 of Pentacles. That's the end of a cycle. We have the Hanged Woman upside down, looking at something from a different perspective, in the 6 of Cups in reverse. So we have a completion of a cycle when it comes to money. So if you have been having money struggles, it looks like the struggle for money is about over. Perhaps you are looking at your situation from a different point of view and you have left your lack mentality of money problems behind, and that's why all of a sudden you're kind of like, I don't have money problems anymore. I can make all the money I need to, because you have let go of money blocks and lack mentality. That's a tough one to do. So if you have managed to do that, then you have accomplished something major. 6 of Cups came up in reverse. So when I see that one, it always makes me think that there's been some emotional stuff come up. And maybe the emotions that came up was what helped clear out that negative, the money blocks or whatever. I mean, I can say for my own self, gosh, I think like a week ago, all of a sudden, I had a freak out moment about my financial future. And I got really scared. I mean, like really, really scared. And there were a lot of negative emotions that were coming out. And I recognized that it was fear mentality, lack mentality, money blocks that were coming up for me. And then the next day I bounced back and I seemed to be fine. So it feels very similar to that. It's kind of like you've had some emotional stuff come up. You looked at it from a different perspective for a change. You looked at it and went, this is the same shit that keeps coming up. This is the reason I haven't been able to move forward before, is because I don't think I have the capability. And all of a sudden you went, every time this happens, I'm always able to manage to manifest money or get through it or whatever. And so you were able to move through that block that came up rather swiftly. Yeah. And so if you can see, this gal is on her chariot and she's like going, woo! And moving forward. So that goes right along. It's like blocks came up. You looked at it from a different perspective. You were like, be gone, get out of here, and you're moving on. And that's the way to do it. Instead of getting stuck in it for 6 months at a time, or a month at a time, or letting it funk you up, F-U-N-K, funk you up, you have looked at it and went, you're out of here. Okay, that's good. That is a hard lesson for many people to learn and let go of. So good for you. Okay, what do we got here? What do we got? We got 2 more. Let's see. We've got an Ace of Cups, which in the upright would be new beginnings. So you got some new beginnings coming. It's just not started just yet. And you've still got some negative thoughts that are holding you back. But the good news is, if you look at them with that hanged man, hanged woman perspective from a different point of view, you should be able to move through those fairly quickly too. You managed to do that with your money blocks. So let's think of, okay, so let's do this. What other blocks are Aries working with that they need to look at from a different perspective? So they can look at it, change their perspective, and kick that out the door too. What other blocks do Aries need to look at that need to come up for review. I feel like it's kind of like, let's look at it and change our perspective and move on. Self-worth. Okay, so nostalgia came up and offer came up. Okay, so let's think about this. You need to look at your self-worth in a different perspective. So maybe you've been hard on yourself and thinking you're not good enough or whatever, and that needs to go out the window. Nostalgia. This makes me think that you are probably hard on yourself for past stuff that you have done, and you need to let the past go. You were a different person in the past, and that's one of the reasons we all come down here anyway, is to learn lessons, go through different things, bring it up for, you know, a lesson and look at it and then move through it. And sometimes you get caught up and beat yourself up on things that you did in the past, kind of that coulda, woulda, shoulda thing. I should have done this. I should have done that. Things would have been better. And you can't keep going back to that. You cannot change the past. So the next time something like that comes up, you handle it differently and you move on and you move forward and go through it. The offer card as a block. What was that all about? I don't know. I'm going to keep going. I'm not sure what the offer card is all about as a block that needs to be looked at and dissolved. An offer that needs to be looked at and dissolved. An offer that needs to be looked at and dissolved. I don't know. Maybe you understand that. That does not make any sense to me. All right, what other blocks do Aries need to look at and let go of? Destruction. Okay. So I feel like, okay, there has been some major destruction in your life. That came up 2 weeks ago. That destruction card, I remember, because I started laughing, and it wasn't that I was laughing because you guys have been through a lot of destruction. It was just like the cards that came out, it was just like so like explosive, and I'm like, I felt that energy when I flipped those cards over. I was kind of like, wow. You have had a lot of destruction in your life, and one of the things that you need to look at, bring it up for looking at, is that destruction was there for a reason. That destruction came up to help get you to a better place. That destruction did not come up to punish you. That you know, and you need to look at that as a blessing and think, gosh, if that hadn't have happened, you know, then I wouldn't be in this place now, because I feel like you guys are in a much, much better place than you used to be. And because of that destruction coming out, I think the point of it is looking at things positive. When bad things happen, usually there's something positive that comes out of it. And not looking at it as like, oh, poor me, this is the worst thing that ever could have happened, blah, 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 blah. And look at it and kind of like look at it from the perspective of, wow, I had a lot of growth from that. You know, this changed everything. I don't do that anymore. And it's probably a good thing because this would have happened. And just think of all the positive things that happened from the destruction that happened in the last year, two, whatever, however long it's been, when it felt like you were running from a tornado, literally, or in the middle of a tornado, literally. All right, let's get one at least. Okay, that really wanted to come out. Summer. So let's see. What do you need to, if you're bringing up something to release, what does summer have to do with it? Summer is timing, maybe. I don't know. Let's see. Let's keep going. What other things do Aries need to bring up, look at from a different perspective? I'm looking at the starfish on that. Is there something specific about the starfish? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Maybe this is where I bring this up. I had kind of a channeling the other night, and there were five puzzle pieces. I gotta write. I wrote it down. All right. Maybe this is where this gets brought up. 5 chambers of healing, or the 5 keys to the puzzle of healing, and I haven't quite figured out, but I feel like there are 5 things that we need to bring up and look at and examine to get through the different things to get to the other end. And one of them is pull up and examine past lives and see how past lives have affected you in this lifetime and release that. Pull up your core wounds, childhood wounds, abandonment issues, self-worth issues, and all of that kind of stuff. Bring that up, look at it from a different perspective, and think of how having those has made you a better person. Look at your life purpose. Figure out what your life purpose is and move into that. I had change in DNA, but I feel like that has a lot to do with mental reprogramming, which is all about what this is, but also some DNA reprogramming, getting us ready for the new earth, and then learning what unconditional love is. Okay, I knew that came to me for something. I just had not quite figured out what to do with it yet. But there are 5 things on that starfish there. And if you look up bring those 5 things, the past life, core wounds, life purpose, reprogramming of old crap, and unconditional love, I think those are the 5 key areas that we all are brought down here to look at and kind of regurgitate and look at with a different perspective. And that's what gets us to the other end of the healing. I would be curious what anybody thinks about that. If you agree that those are the 5 things, and if there are other things that you think need to be looked at. I'm thinking about doing a class for that sometime, and I am open to suggestions on the name of it, because I haven't quite figured out what the name of it is. What are we all trying to get to, I think, is like, we're all here trying to get someplace. What are we trying to get to? Happiness, awareness, being awakened, whole? I don't know. That's the thing I'm struggling with, is like, what's the word that, what are we all doing down here and trying to get to or achieve or whatever? Happiness. And we all go through different things to figure out what makes us happy, but some things don't work. So anyway, sorry, I digress. What other... I'm trying to think what other... I'm going to do some last minute, few healing words, cards, anything else that the universe has to say about this situation. Bringing up old programming and looking at it from a different perspective, I guess, is what this whole thing is about. So is there any other words of wisdom? That one feels like it's coming out. Boundaries. Okay, so apparently that's in there in the 5 somewhere. Wonder what that would be under. That's something else that apparently people have to look at is boundaries. Do they have good boundaries? Yes or no? Manifestation. Okay, so that also has to do with being able to know that you can change things quickly in your favor. And if you get rid of that old programming, that is something that you're going to be able to do, is like you're going to be able to go, I don't have any money. Oh, nope. I can change that thought very quickly and make it happen fast or whatever. So personal power. Yeah, God, this is just all going right along with everything this says, is you have the power to make your life the way you want it to be. And the way you make your life the way you want it to be is you examine those 5 things on the starfish, bring them up, look at them, and clear them. Bring them up, look at them, and clear them. You've got the power to do that. And when you get through all of those, all of your blocks, all of the things that have held you back, all of that negative programming that you have been working on all of this time is going to be gone, and there isn't going to be anything that's going to hold you back. So, yeah, I mean, it's just all, it makes sense to me. I'm interested if it makes sense to you. My other question is, if it doesn't make sense to you, what do you find to be the biggest struggle that holds you back? I am curious about that. I mean, we all have things that hold us back. But what do you find to be your biggest thing that holds you back? And it can be anything. I am always looking for things to work on with people. And so anyway, I think that's it. I'm jabbered enough for now. So I will see you guys 1st of February. And I am working on some videos for those of you who are going to be home alone on Valentine's Day. As someone who has spent many, many Valentine's days at home alone, I know how it feels, and that's kind of one of my passions or purpose in life, is to help people that not feel that way. You know, I know how miserable that can be. So anyway, keep an eye. It'll come out a day or 2 before Valentine's Day, but it's going to be specifically for people who are home alone on Valentine's Day and do not want to be, or they are home alone on Valentine's Day and maybe they have been dating somebody, but for whatever reason they are not with that person. And then I talk about some blocks that the other person might be having that is keeping you guys apart at this moment in time. So I'm kind of slowly working my way through those, so they'll be ready for Valentine's Day. Anyway, I will see you guys 1st of February. Bye.